you are interested in the unusual, the mysterious, the unexplainable, that is why you are here.
This is really a continuation of my video, The Worst Sorts of Fire and Brimstone Preachers, in which I talked about how the worst sorts are atheists because they tend to launch directly into condemnation without providing a premise from which to do so. In fact, anymore I find myself pointing out to atheists that their comments to me are conclusions, and I want them to show their work, right? Like your teacher used to say, show your work. You can't just give me a conclusion. I want to see the rest of your argument. And so what we find is that atheism discredits condemnation, and condemnation discredits atheism. And this is because atheism discredits condemnation, because since it's premised on absolutely nothing but personal preferences or emotive reactions, in other words, the interpretations of biosensory neural reactions by a temporarily existing bioorganism which came to be by a random process of chance evolution cobbling together a brain, the function of which primarily is survival, so that there's no real premise for condemnation besides just the fleeting emotive reaction du jour, I suppose, which is really no premise at all, especially not an absolute one. And conversely, condemnation discredits atheism because the fact that atheists are condemning means that they are basing their condemnation on something. It's just like G.K. Chesterton pointed out, that every denunciation implies a moral doctrine of some kind. Now the issue is, since atheism, if taken seriously, if taken literally, if taken as a worldview philosophy, if that is, atheism is turned into one by the atheist, and of course that's what the individual atheist does. They build their own worldview with atheism at the core. And so like a multi-tentacled octopus, the core of atheism begins to touch upon everything they think about, so that they mold and shape their opinion about whatever it may be, everything from morals to politics to what have you, based on that core. So the condemnation discredits atheism because it shows that they really are appealing to something more than just their emotive reactions. Because obviously if you're being a consistent thinker and you know you're doing nothing more than being emotively reactionary, you're not as likely to say something because you know whence that comes. It's just a bunch of adrenaline or what have you. But they are condemning because the fact is that being image bearers of God, with God's law written on their hearts, however twisted and turned they make that eventually, because the Bible says we can have our consciousness seared as with a hot iron after doing wrong for so long in an unrepentant manner, that they are appealing to the moral law, the moral code. In fact, what I would specify as the ethos, right? Ethics. The absolute unchanging ethics. So that atheism discredits condemnation, and condemnation discredits atheism. Atheism, if true, would discredit condemnation because it would turn it into just nothing but a emotive reaction. And condemnation would discredit atheism, as it does, because it shows that the atheist is really appealing to and functioning premised upon something beyond a view of the universe that is one without God, and therefore without ultimate meaning, without an explanation for yesterday, meaning for today, hope for tomorrow, or what have you.